Another conversation that I think is worth having is the issue of unemployed graduates, right? That's a very big problem, plight of many in South Africa. It's very sad to see someone who is probably in debt or had to go through difficulties such as hunger, a lot of sacrifices, and a lot of, debt as well. For 4 years going through that and then graduating and finding that you are irrelevant when it comes to the market. You're not needed. You see a lot of graduates on by the traffic lights, but the crazy thing is that it's always a specific group of people. It's always black people. I haven't seen a Caucasoid graduate, standing and begging for a job. I think that speaks to a lot of things. One of those things could be that, obviously, statistically, there's more black people. But the crazy thing is that a few years ago, people were told that go to school, study hard, get a degree, you'll get a good job. But then now it's not happening. So what's the problem? What's the problem? We could get into that much deeper, but I don't want to be long. So I think, obviously, one of the reasons that most employers are a particular group, and that could be of significant influence. But again, I think people don't really understand why they're going to varsity. I didn't either. So when I was in matric, I applied for a Bachelor of Business Science degree, and a specialization was actuarial science. Didn't know what it was, had no idea. I just knew that they worked with numbers and I wanted something to do with numbers. Second option was mathematical statistics, which I should have chosen because I love it more. So when I did actuarial science, I realized that I had to learn accounting and all these other things that were just foreign to me. But more than that, I think the idea of working in insurance for me at that time was absurd. So I went to finance and investment. Still did accounting and economics, but then I loved it. Anyway, one thing I realized that a lot of people don't know, and then when I was in third year, I think, I then realized that no, actually, you don't even have to go to varsity for some professions. I'm talking about professions now, like professional qualifications. To become a chartered global management accountant, you did not have to go to varsity. All you had to do was to pay and write your board exams. Obviously, you have to study for them after matric, which means you have to pay for the books, pay for this, pay for that. Study for the board exams, pass the board exams, get the experience, pass more board exams, and then you get your charter. You become a chartered global management accountant. There you'll be dealing with costing and management accounting. So that's one type of accounting. There's another type called financial accounting. Actually, I heard an individual saying that they used to help a guy who studied chartered accounting. No. There's no such a thing as chartered accounting. You cannot charter accounting. The charter is obtained by the accountant. All right? The accountant obtains the charter from a professional body, such as SAICA in South Africa. Only after writing professional board exams and doing articles, then the accountant gets the charter. You're already an accountant at that time. You're not a student. So I see people, they think because they studied financial accounting, then they're accountants. No. You study financial accounting, you go and work. Then you may work as an accountant, yes, but you're not a chartered until you get the charter. Same thing with law. You're not a lawyer until you get admitted to a bar or whatever. These are professions, guys. People don't understand South Africa. Just because you studied law, you're not a lawyer. You're just a law graduate. I heard people say, I've graduated in computer science, now I'm a qualified. No, you're not qualified. You're certified. You have a certificate, a degree. You're not. Who qualified you then? An exam? Not at all. No, not an exam. Because then the quality of your work has to be checked for you to be qualified. So I think there's a big distinction that young people don't know about professional qualifications and academic certificates. When we go to varsity, majority of the time we do academic work. Yeah, well, academic work, and then you can become a professional after you've done your academic studies. And I think that's one problem. People don't know much about that. I didn't either. Another problem is now when people go to varsity, some go just because they want to, please everyone around them. So you end up studying anything that comes. You go to varsity and you study environmental science or whatever. Now, there's nothing wrong with environmental science. A friend of mine did environmental sciences, but you need to know what you're doing. You see, not word for word, but at least you need to have an idea what's happening, how you can maneuver around this. But then now, if more people go to environmental science and there's no demand for professionals in the environmental science sector, then you'll have more people standing by the side of the road begging for jobs. So there has to be now well-informed decision making. You need to do research and understand which industries are growing, which industries are expanding, both locally and internationally. See? So now, if you look at those trends and you look at the needs also of the environment, remember that technology, guys, is leveling the playing field, eh? You cannot tell me that you want to push for more mechanics in 2022 in South Africa. Old school mechanics. You cannot tell me you're going to push for that, because the mechanics you train now will be mechanics for the rest of their lives, statistically. So you look at the profession itself. Is it in demand? What are the trends? How's the automobile market looking? Will there be a need for more mechanics? And I think we need to start thinking like that. When you choose a degree or a diploma or a certificate, don't just choose it because you want to fit in with your friends, because they're all students. You want to be a student as well. Because then the reality is that after 2 years, after 3 years, you'll be there back at home, useless as hell. And you'll be feeling useless as hell, actually. And trust me, the more unemployed you stay, the more likely you'll stay unemployed. If you're unemployed for 2 years after you graduate, 3 years after you graduate, I think after that, it becomes obsolete. You can't even use that certificate anymore. Because remember, these curricula are designed like 5 years ago, 10 years ago by all people who are clueless of what's happening in the real world. So the more you stay unemployed, now that's why the unemployed graduates are more likely to stay unemployed than people who are already working, graduates or not. You see, those who are unemployed right now, very high chances they might stay unemployed. Which means now we need to really look at how do we solve this before even going to varsity, or before leaving rather. Because if you go there, you study something that's just irrelevant, you're not going to get a job. But beyond getting a job, I think the most important thing is to create networks in the place. Yeah, create networks, attend events, book launches, meet with people, start a small business. We did stuff, man. I used to sell textbooks. I used to be a middleman selling people's textbooks. So senior students or people who've passed the previous year, they'll come to me. I take their textbook, we agree on a price, and then I sell the textbook, contact them. You do that for 3 days. After 3 days, we've got so much stock, making more than 1,000 rand in profit, not sale, in profit a day. I remember I made like 1,200 rand like in 5 hours. As a student, in 1 day, I didn't even sell the whole day. Repeat that now by 5, and repeat that by 5 again, because we used to sell like for 5 weeks or 6 weeks in a semester. So you could easily make like 20K or something on the side. You do things like that. You start to connect with people. You start to talk to people. You learn skills. You go to seminars. And these are free at university. Free. Before you know it, man, you know exactly what you want to do before you leave the place. Because before I left, when I went in, I was finance, and business, and I gained those skills, very important skills that I gained. But before I left, I started to appreciate now technology. I started to appreciate technology before I left varsity. I really appreciated technology and so-called fourth industrial revolution. such that when I left varsity, I went and did software programming. See, I went and did that. So with my background in finance, I went into IT, and it worked. Why? Because I didn't just put blinkers on and wake up, go to class, come back, wake up. I actually listened. I researched, I listened, I got involved. I led societies and organizations in varsity. I was involved. And that's the thing about varsity. It's not just about the books. You need to get involved. Go join a society. If you're in engineering, go join 2 engineering societies at the very least. Join a reading club. Join the debate. Because these are skills you'll need afterwards. When you leave that place, you're not gonna have a roommate or whatever who's gonna be lazy with you there. Even when you get a job, you'll still need those skills because you'll need to lead projects. You'll be put there, in the fire, man. You have to prove yourself that you're worthy. I think a lot of people have not really, had that conversation. Being a student is not soft life, guys. It's not about soft life. If you're gonna be there thinking about soft life, you're just a toddler who's running away from responsibilities. You're an elder, you're an adult there, you're an adult. A lot of people are 19, 20, 21, up to 30, 40, something like that. So those are adults. You need to start thinking like adults, can't be behaving like kids. Simply because you stay in res, you don't have responsibilities. Otherwise, then when you get to the workplace, then you'll be crybabies, whining and complaining all the time. Even more, you can't even start your own business because you're crying and sad all the time when things go wrong. Forget about that. We're in a tough situation right now. We need to be tough. Okay? So I think we have to be careful of what we choose as well, guys. I think that's another thing that's not being mentioned much. Let's be careful of what we choose. You can't just go and do public relations. What are you going to do with public relations? Think about that before you do it. If you know what you're going to do with it, then you go there and do it. You do political science. What are you going to do with the political science certificate? If you know what you're going to do, then go for it, right? Sometimes you don't know exactly, but you know which industry you want to go into. Then go. If you want to be a business person, go and study something, entrepreneurship, a BCom, finance. Study something that you'll gain substantial understanding and an advantage with. You see? I have a friend, he did civil engineering, couldn't get a job. Told him, look, go and study software programming. He did that, got a job. He's in IT now. He can go and start an engineering job, a business whenever he wants. But even when he went and applied for programming and all that, they took him seriously because he already had something in engineering. So they knew this is someone who means business. You see? So his degree worked for him in a different field, and that's the thing. Now you go there with your communications degree in something that communications degree might help in. You might not be in communications, but you may be in another sector, another industry that degree might help in. So it's not just about getting a job. It's about, doing something that's going to put you at an advantaged position. Think about that for a minute. Peace.